Now, speaking of movies, we're talking about Hideo Kojima now, and we're over at Time Extension. And I thought this was a really good article to bring up because there had been rumors over the past week or so, and news articles making the rounds saying that the Wachowskis had approached, so that's the creators and directors of the Matrix movies, had approached Kojima about making a game for the Matrix, and apparently he just said flat out no. It's quite a funny story the way they pitched it, as if they were pitching him all this stuff to, do the Matrix game, and it was going through an interpreter, and he just said no and kind of walked out of the room. So I think a lot of that was fabricated and not true. Since then, Kojima has actually tweeted his side of the story in full, and I'm just going to read this out. So this is pretty good. He said here, I was surprised to see on social media that the Wachowski sisters had offered me a Matrix game project back in 1999. In all these 26 years, no one ever told me such a conversation had taken place. At the time, we were mutual fans and exchanged emails. The Matrix hadn't been released in Japan yet, but I had already seen it in theatres in the US and at a preview screening when the Wachowskis came to Japan for promotion. I believe I met them 3 times. In the morning, we had a Famitsu interview in Shinjuku. That time, Jeff Darrow joined us for the talk session. In the afternoon, they were invited to the headquarters of Konami's CS division. Back then, I was vice president of KCE Japan, a wholly owned subsidiary. When I arrived at the headquarters, their meeting with Mr. Kitawe, the head of the CS division, had just ended. I joined them afterwards and we chatted for about an hour without an interpreter. Aki wasn't even there. I think John Gaeta, the visual effects supervisor, was also present. That evening, I attended the premiere screening and party where I also met Joe Silver. Even then, there was no mention of an offer. At that time, I was already extremely busy with Metal Gear Solid 2 and probably couldn't have accepted the offer right away. But if someone had told me, maybe there could have been a way to make it work. Now that got me thinking. The Matrix Awakens Unreal Engine 5 tech demo, which is just fantastic. I love just checking it out on my portal all the time or on my PS5 on the big screen. It looks amazing. Imagine we got Kojima making a new game for the Matrix with that technology. I think that would just fly off shelves and be one of the best sellers like ever. Why are they not making this happen? They really, really should. Plus, I mean, The Matrix. I know the first Matrix to me is just god tier, fantastic movie. I really like the second one. Third one, okay, not so much. The most recent one, I can't even remember what it was called. It came out a few years ago. Was just terrible. Like one of the worst movies I've ever seen. It was so bad. And supposedly they're making another one. So let's just cancel them out, forget about them, and go back to the original trilogy and let Hideo Kojima make a movie using all this Unreal Engine 5 tech, or hell, even his Decima engine. It just looks amazing. Just let this man cook on a game like that. And I don't think it needs to be a huge, massive game like Death Stranding. Give us a more, constrained package that could be like a, 12 to, 20-hour game, single player story game. I think that would be fantastic. Is that something you'd like to see? I know I would, and I've got my fingers crossed that because this story is doing the rounds and been getting a lot of press recently, something maybe happens with this.